Hi, and thanks for tuning in to our live radio show. Moments of Clarity with Tiffany will begin in just a few moments. Please stay tuned. Kindly take this opportunity to share this show on your platforms because change can only come when we stand together as one, especially when it comes to ending the stigma on mental health.
You are not alone, and help is out there.
Kids have mental health issues, and we also need to learn coping skills.
Let's get started and let the show begin. See you soon. Hi, and thanks for tuning in to our live radio show. Moments of Clarity with Tiffany will begin in just a few moments. Please stay tuned. Kindly take this opportunity to share this show on your platforms because change can only come when we stand together as one, especially when it comes to ending the stigma on mental health.
You are not alone, and help is out there.
Kids have mental health issues, and we also need to learn coping skills.
Let's get started and let the show begin.
Don't put yourself down, time for a change. Believe in yourself, time to rearrange. Be your best friend, bring hope to your day. Lose your critic, get out of your way. Now it clicks, moments of clarity. Now I hear moments of clarity. Now I get it, moments of clarity. To yourself be kind, it will please your mind. Find your joy, trust in you. Put in the time, you'll see how you grow. Many kinds of love you get to define. Find self-love, your soul will align. Now it clicks, moments of clarity. Now I hear moments of clarity. Now I get it, moments of clarity.
Hi, and welcome to Moments of Clarity with Tiffany. My name is Tiffany Warner, licensed mental health counselor, and I'm your host. And Amy, you're settled, right?
Yes, thank you. You had much more faith in me than I had in me, but thank you. Yes,
Yeah,
I found a
so
room. I found a room.
Yeah, this is kind of informal right now because we're gonna get the radio station on, and then that's when we go live, right? But we're live virtually right now.
Oh,
So
good.
kind
Okay.
of when Amy first logged in, she was like right outside her hotel, and she's like, "Oh my gosh!" Like flustered. I'm like, "Go get settled somewhere." But I think I accidentally played the same video, like opening video twice, just because I could see you in the background running around trying to talk to people.
Oh my
Anyway.
God, thank you. I now I'm plugged in, so now I don't even have to worry about somehow going dead.
Yeah,
I,
so
I,
just tap up your
I've met,
phone and get settled, and we're gonna get going. And when Ed unmutes, we're good to go.
okay.
You did it.
but we
Yes.
can't see your head, so that might help. But you're gonna do great. Don't worry, we got this. Just make sure that we can see your pretty face, and I can't wait to interview you about A Mouthful of Air. And congratulations on your novel becoming a film with. And I hope I'm saying this right, Amanda Seyfried. And
Yes. I still
Seyfried.
say it wrong all the time.
Seyfried. I mean, I'm such a big fan, and I don't know how to pronounce her last name sometimes, but I think it's Seyfried and Finn Whitrock.
Yes. Yeah.
And to get that amazing story, and not only as the book, but it's a journey that, as you sent me the PDF, and I kind of went through it as much as I could because it's in a couple days. Or Lane sent it to me.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
And very nice. You guys are both very nice people. And so I came through, and it's a memoir of what you've gone through with depression and postpartum and things like that. And,
Guests.
let's
You
talk
can
about
join
the
in the
radio.
show by calling Tiffany toll-free at
I'm so sorry.
866-826-1340 or on Facebook and Twitter at MOC with Tiffany. Now, here's Tiffany Werner.
Hi, and thanks for listening. This is Moments of Clarity with Tiffany. My name is Tiffany Werner. I am a licensed mental health counselor, and I'm your host. And today we're going to be discussing a movie that's coming out by Sony Pictures called A Mouthful of Air, but it's based on a novel that is written by my guest today. And before I formally introduce Amy, I would like to say hi to Ed behind the screen.
Hey, and a happy Friday, everybody. Hello.
Ed,
Happy Friday.
Ed, and yeah. So it's nice to see you, Ed, and happy Friday to you too. And
You bet.
so our guest today wrote a book called A Mouthful of Air. She's going to tell us about it. So if I mention something incorrect, you can just tell us all about it. I'm just going to ask you. But Sony Pictures made it into a movie starring Amanda Seyfried and Finn Whitrock, and it's a big deal. It's coming out. Amy's going like a chicken with her head cut off, trying to keep up with all these interviews and everything. So I feel for you.
My last compulsion is to always be on time, which is a very, non-self-destructive compulsion. It's a great compulsion. And to be late for you today and running around like that, I cannot tell you. I don't understand how late people are late, because it adds a whole level of anxiety you don't need. So thank you for your patience.
Well, yeah. So you just went through what I normally go through, because I'm one of those late people that are always late, or I don't know, or try not to be, but make it just in time. Ed knows I'm running in like, we don't have to get into my issues. Anyway, yeah. Anyway, it's going to be a wonderful interview, and thanks so much. And callers can call in 866-826-1340, 866-826-1340, and join the live discussion and say hi to Ed when you do. So let me formally introduce my guest. She found me because wanted to express the movie and her novel on a mental health show, which was an honor in itself. They kind of like, how'd you find me? But you did. I'm so glad that you did. She's the author of 3 critically acclaimed novels. This one, A Mouthful of Air, and another one called I Smile Back, and another Hesitation Wounds, and a 2016 Independent Publisher Book Award winner. She produced and co-adapted the film adaptation of I Smile Back, starring Sarah Silverman, who received a SAG Award nomination for the role. And the film premiered in the Sundance, Toronto, and Deauville film festivals. And then this one, her latest film, A Mouthful of Air, is her first understanding as a screenwriter, director, producer, and illustrator. And she is an outspoken advocate for mental health. And I assume we're talking about depression and postpartum and other things from what I got from the book. But welcome to Moments of Clarity, Amy Koppelman.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for being here. It's amazing. And forever, all of your accomplishments. Wow.
When I heard you read that, I thought, oh, geez, there's nobody I can blame bad reviews on but myself, because tonight's our first screening, and I've never sat in a theater with people watching it because of COVID. We edited it during COVID, so I'm very nervous.
Wait,
but
you
thank
get
you
to
for
see the premiere for A Mouthful of Air tonight?
Yeah, it's a screening, not even a premiere, but it's the first time like we're showing it to people, and
Congrats.
yeah, I'm very
That's
excited.
amazing.
Yeah. But when during COVID you had to do these things in a vacuum because you couldn't sit in a movie theater together. So I'm very nervous but very excited.
Yeah, hold on, I'm getting some spam here.
I can't see you. Is that okay?
You can't see me.
It's okay. As long as it's okay with you.
I can see you.
Okay, good. I hope I'm looking at the right place.
I think so. But we'll figure that out on the break.
So you had
anyway,
mentioned.
I'm getting some spam on stuff. So anyway, let's go back to your moment of clarity where you first started writing these kind of books, and let's just focus on Mouthful of Air. What caused this to get this idea?
Well, Mouthful of Air was my first novel. I wrote it 20 years ago now, and it came out in 2003. And it's a very dark novel, and I don't think anybody would set out to write this specific novel with this specific ending. I think in retrospect, 18 years later, I realized I was writing through the fear of what if I hadn't gotten the help that I needed. But at the time, I just thought I was writing about shame and a woman who was carrying so much shame with her and so much sadness. And I was trying to understand why, when this woman saw all the beauty in the world and all the color and all the life and loved her children and loved her family, why she would think that the best thing for them was to
we lost her. What? You said we lost you for a second. You said, how could a woman who had everything going for her would think what?
I was saying, how could somebody who saw all the beauty in the world, who loved her family, who loved her children, loved being a mom, loved being a wife, treasured all of that, why would she think that the best thing that she could do for them would be to remove herself from them, to kill herself? And so that's what I was trying to figure out as I was writing the book, the answer to why. And at the time, nobody really spoke about postpartum depression. I hadn't even known that was a term until I wrote the last scene of the book, and my fingers jumped off the keyboard, and I went to, there wasn't even Google then, it was Ask Jeeves, and I wrote, I typed in, can a mother hurt her child? And of course a mother could hurt her child. Like, I totally had forgotten about the Bible, but there's, so many stories like this, but I actually didn't know if it was something that we were capable of. And I typed in, can a mother hurt her child? And this rudimentary site came up, and a note that a mother wrote to her daughter who had recently killed herself. And that was the first time I heard the words postpartum depression. I read the words postpartum depression and realized, oh, this is another kind of depression that's different than, what I've experienced at other times in my life.
Mm-hmm. And it's a horrible feeling for some mothers to go through because they don't want to not bond with their children and things like that. And I had interviewed someone a little bit back that had a Netflix show called When the Bow Breaks, and it's narrated by Brooke. Why can't I name the celebrity? Brooke
Shields.
Brooke Shields. I was going to say Fields, but spent so many minutes trying to remember how to say it. Amanda Seyfried. Brooke Shields' name for a second. It's narrated by Brooke Shields, and Brooke Shields, an advocate for mental health. And so anyway, as well as depression. But there's so many reasons, just the hormones and things, and without the right therapy and medication, women don't realize that they're suffering with postpartum depression as well. And there's a lot of clinics and doctors that have been on the show that I've interviewed that talk about postpartum and that they've been through it themselves and had to receive medication and understand, because there's a lot of different levels of postpartum where some are with psychosis and they think, oh, we have to all die, or the other stuff like that, but yeah, it's not their fault. It's a chemical thing.
I mean, 18 years ago, I mean, it was very, very hard to get this book published. And Brooke Shields' book, Doing Well, was helpful. But, this is a book of fiction and not a memoir. And it was just impossible to get an agent. They kept saying, this is too dark. There's no audience for this book. And I kept thinking, but I know that this is a thing that women are feeling. And I've gotten so much help through fictional characters, through being able to relate to, some line that the character says that I didn't even know I didn't know how to put into words this thought that I had, or they say something that I was like, yes, I'm feeling exactly that same way. And I'm able to connect with the character. And I really thought it was important to have a fictional character that people could, project onto and, share, realize that they're not alone, and that, other people are feeling these feelings. And I think this idea of what it is to be a good or a bad mom it weighs so heavy on every mother. And we come up with these ideas of what will make us a good mom and what will make us a bad mom. And for Julie, the main character in this book, not breastfeeding her child made her a very bad mom. And it was very hard to get past this idea that she wasn't strong enough to, go off medication at the time. She didn't know about if the medication was good or not, because this was 20 years ago. And so in an effort to be a good mom, she really made herself sick. So it's been kind of my mission to explain to people that depression is no different than asthma or diabetes. And if you brought your little kid to the park and you were swinging them on a swing and you were having a hard time breathing, you would have no guilt whipping out your inhaler. But yet we don't allow ourselves as women, as moms, to believe that this is an illness. We think it's just being weak or not maternal, ill-equipped, inferior to all the other moms who are smiling. But in truth, if we talked about it more, we would find out that other moms are feeling the same way to varying degrees, that the person who's sick is feeling. And, removing the stigma of that is very important, that we start to at least be honest with each other.
I can't agree more. This is my whole show for 7 years, and this is mental health. And it's kind of funny because people say that's too dark. I wrote a nonfiction book called "There's a Light Within You That Never Goes Out," and it's on adult survivors of sexual abuse and incest. And the stories of 5 people in the book are nonfiction. And people keep calling and asking if I want to make it into a movie, and I feel like it's a scam. I'm like, have you read the book? It would be it's going to be a very tough movie to watch. It's horrible because it's graphic and nonfiction. It's a self-help mental health book, but I was in a dark place after writing it. Anyway, Amy, fix your camera for me a little bit, please.
Oh, sorry, I can't see what you see.
I think it's just your settings, like for just the viewing. Because I mean, if I hit this, I could see only you. If you hit maximize or minimize, but don't worry about it.
I don't want to touch anything because
it's okay.
I don't want to accidentally disconnect you.
But anyway, it's time for our first break. So maybe we can figure it out over the break. But at the same time, what an honor to have you and what you've done to make a change in ending the stigma in mental health. Because it's a lot of times people don't want to talk about it and or make movies about it. And it's coming a long way, but we have so much more further to go. And it's
But I
funny
think
that I
it's
brought up
amazing.
Brookfield, that you had talked about her novel, her book. I didn't even read that though, but no,
Yeah, it's I haven't read it, but I know it's really an important memoir, and it really, she was so famous, is so famous that it really helped people understand and, brought light to this particular type of depression.
And not only that, but people will listen to people speaking out where they have a lot to lose by speaking out and saying, I'm going through this. And, and even if people could shame them or look down on them, the celebrities like speaking out that want to share what they're going through so people don't feel alone, even though they could be fearful of their reputation. But let's talk about this after the break. We'll be back with Moments of Clarity in just a few moments. Please stay tuned.
You're listening to Moments of Clarity with Tiffany Werner. We welcome your input at 866-826-1340. Tiffany will be right back after this.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Join DID Discovering Hope for their 6th annual trauma conference, where Dr. Colin A. Ross will speak. He is internationally renowned clinician, researcher, author, and lecturer in the field of trauma-related disorders. CEs will be offered. Conference occurs 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Friday, October 22nd and Saturday the 23rd. Network, learn, and grow. Get an exhibitor table to share your organization or nonprofit. Learn more at diddiscoveringhope.org. That is diddiscoveringhope.org.
Hello, my name is Lucy Lopes, and I'm a real estate agent that supports ending the stigma on mental health with Moments of Clarity with Tiffany. I am also passionate about helping you buy or sell your home. With times being so difficult, I'm here to help. Contact me at lucylopes.com. That's LUCYLOPES.com. Let me assist you through this pandemic and know that you are not alone.
If you're a show host, gamer, live streamer, podcast host, or radio show host that would like your message to get out and reach up to 30 platforms, then there's an affordable way to do that. It's called Restream. Restream makes it easy to broadcast professional live videos from your browser to multiple social platforms at once. Start your live show with guests, brand it with logos and overlays, and create an interactive experience for your audience. Learn more at Restream.io and mention Moments of Clarity for special offers.
Hi, this is Tiffany Werner, your host of Moments of Clarity. Living with a mental health disorder is not easy. If you or someone you know are struggling with this, please know it's so important to seek treatment, and I'm here to help. Please visit the website at momentsofclaritywithtiffany.com to view blog posts and resources on this site to help educate and inspire you to take action, because there's no shame in seeking help for mental health. While you're there, please take a few seconds to sign up for my email list. You'll get some extremely valuable educational and entertaining content that can be sent right to your inbox each week. Plus, you'll also get instant and free access to my guide on managing your anxiety. You can also follow me on Twitter at MOC with Tiffany and at Facebook at Tiffany Werner. And once again, the website is momentsofclaritywithtiffany.com. Thank you so much for your support and for listening to your show, because change can only come when we stand together as one.
Are you looking for a great book? If you like to root for the underdog, Joe Potosi's book is a book for you. A real American odyssey that will grab your attention with its fast-moving narrative. You won't be able to put this masterpiece down. When the Dust Settled by Joe Potosi. Go to Amazon, Barnes & Noble, or Zulin Press.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
We are back to Moments of Clarity with Tiffany Werner. To join in the discussion, call 866-826-1340. Now, here's Tiffany Werner.
Hi, and thanks for listening. If you're just tuning in, this is Moments of Clarity with Tiffany. My name is Tiffany Werner. I'm a licensed mental health counselor, and I'm your host. And today we have a very successful novelist who's
I can see you now. Yes, I figured it out. Sorry.
And her recent novel, A Mouthful of Air, is being premiered and to a movie picked up by Sony Pictures. And I'm just so happy for you, Amy. And welcome back to Moments of Clarity, Amy Koppelman.
Yes.
Am I saying your last?
I'm
Now
so
I got to do Seyfried.
yeah.
Just having a day
Well,
with
it's
Patty.
it's an amazing thing. I mean, 18 years ago, 20 years ago, when I wrote this book, the idea that, I could be here in California. Where are you?
In Florida, Tampa, Florida.
In Florida, and we could be talking on the phone like this, and talking about this openly. It's really a really amazing thing. And yes, there is so much work that needs to be done, and there's so many women who are suffering quietly. In 1995, when I was working on this book, postpartum depression was rarely talked about, like I said, and it remained largely undiagnosed. And now we know that 1 out of every 5 women have, real postpartum depression, significant postpartum depression. And yet still so many women are scared to speak about it and ashamed. I hadn't thought about making this into a film until one day I was driving down the West Side Highway in New York City, and I must have been listening to doctor's radio, and I heard a call in, and it was a woman in the middle of the country. She was alone with her baby. I remember an ironing board in the story, so she must have been ironing, and she was crying and talking about being scared that she wasn't equipped to take care of her child, and that she was going to fail, and that she was going to accidentally hurt her child. And I was listening to this, and I was like, oh, she has postpartum depression. And I guess the doctor, because I think it was doctor's radio, said, you should go and you should ask for help. You can call Postpartum Support International. They have locations everywhere. And she said, oh no, I could never do that. Could you speak to your mother? I could never do that. Could you speak to your doctor? I could never do that. Could you speak to your priest? No, the shame of saying that she was having a hard time here was just, she would rather be crying and, having thoughts of suicide, and what the fastest, easiest way would be for her to kill herself than to ask for help, because she was so ashamed of herself. And so I thought, oh, it's not people, there's still so many people who don't know about this. And, even if you don't have postpartum depression, it's just so scary in general to become a mom. You give birth to this beautiful little thing who's totally, reliable on you to survive. And if you're a thoughtful person, the responsibility in that is just so profound, to make sure that you raise them up to be okay.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's a lot of pressure. A Facebook follower said, "Hi, Tiffany and Amy. I can understand the difficulty of publishing non-traditional books, especially in 2003. You're an inspiration to both writers and those with depression."
Thank you.
Friends said, "Very brave to write about this topic 20 years ago." And
I remember. I was going to say that when the book did come out, and I mean, it did finally come out. It, as I said, it was rejected, I think I said, by really every agent in New York. And finally, I met this woman named Amy Rennert in San Francisco. And back then, you would look for an agent by sending self-addressed stamped envelopes. And so you would see your own handwriting come back to you with the rejection. And I would know, like, if it's coming back to me, it's definitely a rejection, because if they wanted to take me, they would call. And she finally got the book published. She called me, and by an independent press out of San Francisco called McAdam Cage. And when they finally put the book out, I have to say that the play dates at my house died down for a little while, because people somehow confused me with the character. And I mean, no one loved being a mom more and taking care of kids. And, I was a well person. And so it was like that for a little while, until then everybody realized, but wait, if we don't send her to my house, they would all have to go play at their house. So they started sending them back to me. But yeah, it was, I guess, in retrospect, really freaky to people. And I think sometimes when we see something that we see ourselves in, sometimes it has the opposite effect than what I was talking about before. Sometimes instead of feeling less lonely and more connected, we just push it away because we want to deny the feelings inside of ourselves. And I think the extension of that is that, when we're young, we make coping mechanisms in order to survive, things we, tell ourselves to remember, things we conveniently forget. And I think often when you have a child and you see how innocent and how incapable of defending, herself or himself this child is, it wipes away those mechanisms, and we can't protect ourselves by the denial anymore. And so we're forced to, address different childhood trauma or trauma in general. And I think that that's also something that we don't talk about as much as, as women and mothers, how, as I keep saying, like how scary it is to be responsible for protecting this life, for making sure nothing bad happens. And if you've had bad things happen to you, then, you get
That's
scared
the
of.
key, is because if we've been through some trauma, we love them so much, the children, that we don't want them to ever go through something that what we've been through. And I have to tell you a secret, that I have 2 boys. The first one was easy peasy pregnancy, and then the second one had preeclampsia and things like that, and depression a bit, but not where I felt like I didn't want to be there, or suicidal thoughts or whatever. It was like physical depression, more like the doctor called it, but probably mild postpartum, but more like lack of motivation and fatigue, like strong fatigue, and difficulty getting out of bed and things like that afterwards, because whatever. And he's the easy one. He's an easy child now, but it was a little bit difficult at first. But since I had been a mother before, I knew that there was something different than that was coming on with me, chemically, I guess, with the pregnancy being difficult. So I was aware of it. A lot of people don't see the symptoms and think that, oh, maybe it's just post pregnancy, or this is what's supposed to happen, or whatever like that. And then they don't seek help. But I was aware since it was my second time being a mom.
Right.
Now I'm on blood pressure because of the easy one, the easy pregnancy, the first one.
Right.
Yeah,
Well,
he's a teenager.
They also don't screen women for thyroid issues, and that is something that's very, very important, because often they present the same way. And so if you've had a baby and you're feeling this way, at the very least get your thyroid tested, because it might be that you have postpartum Hashimoto's thyroiditis, and that can make you feel very weak and very tired. Where holding a baby is almost impossible. I remember having that with my son, and I kept thinking, I was so weak. I'm so weak. And then one day getting stuck. Sometimes I remember at like 5 o'clock, I couldn't even lift him sometimes. And I remember one day getting stuck in the bathtub, and my husband said, "This is not because you are weak. Like, there's obviously something, physically wrong with you." And I had, a thyroid issue. I ended up having my thyroid taken out, but Synthroid really, really helps with weakness. You get very sick if your thyroid's off.
So but the thing is that both of us sought help, and so fix the problem. Like I didn't have to suffer like that. They because we weren't afraid of the stigma. There's a lot of people that would avoid going to seek help because they're afraid, what would the doctor say, or is the doctor going to take my child away, or what's going to happen? Like, I don't know, whatever the thoughts are, the label, or the denial, don't wanting to be diagnosed with a depression or anything like that. And so they avoid going, and then they suffer in silence, and then take it out on their kids too, or themselves. When it doesn't have to be like that. Because, I mean, within a couple months, I was pushing the stroller and going for 4-mile walks with them. It just needed to be addressed at first, because just being recognized. And just like if we had physical problems, like thyroid issues, things like that, we would fix them. But if it's invisible, like mental health, a lot of people are scared to figure it out. And it's a shame, because it could be, there's coping skills, there's strategies to help make everything better. And nobody has to suffer in silence or feel alone.
Yeah. And I still think that there's a lot of stigma about medication and a lot of misinformation about medication. You know, you're somebody who could never have ever experienced depression, and you have postpartum depression, and you're not somebody who suffers from chronic depression. And, you know, if you go on medication, you'll go on medication for a short period of time,
it's situational.
And you will get better, and then you will go off the medication. It's not true that you have to be on the medication, you know, for the rest of your life. It's not true that the medication makes you numb. It's not true that the medication makes you fat. It's not true that the medication kills your sex life. I mean, I know that when I've had bad periods of depression, I'm not able to feel anything. I mean, all you feel is numb. And I think that when you're on antidepressant medication, when I finally tried antidepressant medication when my son was like a year and a half old, all the cliches, you know, came true. Everything went, you know, from black and white to color. And I was able to cry. I remembered recently on an interview, I was always petrified of crying because I thought, you know, if I start to cry, I'm never going to be able to stop crying. I'm going to die from crying too hard. And I was able to cry without feeling that I was going to drown in it. And I was able to hear a song on the radio and feel the song and
watch a Hallmark commercial or something that might not.
And
you know, it helps. The medication does help.
It's not like driving. Oh, sorry.
Finish your sentence, but I kind of want to get into the book and like the.
Sorry. It's not like taking. It's not like Xanax or drinking or getting high. You don't feel out of it. You just get to remember what it was like to feel yourself again. That's all I was going to say.
Yep. And it's a lot of times all you need for a little bit of time, because what it did for me is it got me out of bed. It got me motivated. It got me out of my own head. And then after a while, I was able to wean off of it. And I was running 5Ks, pushing a baby stroller, you know.
Wow.
So
I've never been able to run. I
mean, well, it was trying to get rid of the baby weight, but you know what I mean. And then
I
got in a car accident, and then all that stopped. That's a whole different show. So you had agents. So you had to push your memoir to a bunch of literary agents, and because I self-published my book. So how did that work?
This was a novel, and there wasn't self-publishing really then. Certainly not the way that there is now, where you can digitally self-publish. It makes, you know, the ability to have voice and to reach people is, you know, so much greater now than it was then.
You could write a blog. I mean, everything. So how did they find this book that you wrote nearly 20 years ago today?
Oh, so my publishers, I'm still in an independent press called $2 Radio. They're really great. And they had published I Smile Back. And when the movie was coming out, I wrote them and said, do you want to look at the book and see if you think it's like worth republishing? McAdam Cage, the original publisher, the owner passed away. And so the, you know, company was out of business. And so they read it and they thought about it. And they're very, very, they're purists, very honorable people. And just saying it was a movie wasn't going to get them to publish it. They really thought about it. And then they said, yes, we will republish this. And so they brought it back to life, which is a nice thing.
Where you don't have to pay for them to publish it. They just do it, right?
Yes.
You have the right publishing company and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, they're great. There's so many independent presses. There's, you know, just so many different ways to publish things. Amazon is a great source for publishing. I think they have print on demand. And I know that there's different apps that help you make it look like a book, you know, format it like a book would be the way to say that, I think.
Mine's a book. I keep getting spam calls because it's been on childabuse.com and other things and nominated for awards. But and then I get spam calls saying, we're really interested in, does I like to put the new, it's all broken English, whatever. Then they were like, for only $3,000, we could put this
Yeah.
on. And it's like, okay. So I don't even answer the calls
Yeah.
now. Anyways,
I
but
know they want me to. I get those calls too, and it's like you're actually asking me to pay more than I was ever paid for this. Like this is crazy. You know, you can go on book promotion, blah blah blah, for $500 a month, and it's like no, but
yeah.
there's.
Yeah.
I think if you find your readers, then they tell other people, and then they tell other people, and people find out little by little. I mean, that's my faith in people and in books.
I would like to redo my book because the self-publishing company didn't do that great of a job, and that's a whole another story anyway as well. How did you feel when they were making it into a movie and you got actors like Amanda Seyfried and Finn Wittrock too?
Yes, I actually reached out to Amanda. Her husband Tommy was in this other movie that I wrote, I Smile Back, based on that book, and I said, would you mind forwarding her this email? And I sent her a note telling her about the book and asking her, if she would be willing to read the script. And she read the script, and then I met with her and we redid the script. She went over every scene. She wanted Julie to have a career. And so Julie's a children's book artist. And in the movie, you see all these pictures that she draws. And it helps you be able to understand the way in which Julie sees the world. And Amanda's performance is just extraordinary. I mean, one of the difficult things about adapting a book, like your book, as you were describing, or my book, is all the interior thought, the interior monologue that we hear in our heads when we're depressed. The refrain of "you're not good enough," "you're a bad person," the warped perspective that we have. And you don't miss any of that in this film because it just plays out in her eyes.
She's a
her
fabulous actress.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
a
just
big
so
fan.
stunning what she does and what she gives, because that's a very hard role to play. But she's a very, very, very kind person and a brilliant actress. And so then we worked together to get financing. This is not a kind of movie that you would pitch necessarily to a company like Sony. That was beyond anything we could have dreamed for the film. And John Sloss, this man who runs this company called Cinetic, he raises money for independent films, and he brought us to this company called Maven Films, which backs women-driven films. And it's by Celine Rattray and Trudy Styler, and they raised the money to make this film. And then everybody worked for free, and we made
They worked for free?
Yeah, I mean, everybody got paid scale, and then everybody ended up having to put whatever they were paid back into the film, because we had a $2.3 million budget for the film, which is so much money, except for not really for making a film. It's not a lot of, money, especially in New York. So everyone just did what they needed to do to get the film.
Because you'll get the residuals after, right? Once it's released.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like, I don't imagine that it's going to be like a superhero movie. I think everybody did the film really because it was important to them to somehow contribute to this dialogue of people don't need to suffer, men, women and men. And I think COVID really brought that. COVID magnified that, our sense of aloneness, and also our access to interconnectivity. So I'm hoping that the world is ready for this movie and this story. I think
they are, and I give you. I didn't have time to explain the bell, but every time I'm like,
I
so proud of you, and you say moment of clarity. Yes.
Yeah, it's like what the kids go like this in spoken word poetry. They snap.
Well, I am just beyond blown away that not only did you do this to help change and end the stigma on mental health, and no wonder we found each other. I get that more now than before. And that also that you guys are doing this and as more like to do it and a charity like as well. But you never know. I wouldn't say you never know if it might not be like the Avengers. Okay. But you never know where it might end up. So, I mean,
you know what, if we save one life, it sounds so cheesy and pat, like, you know, it sounds so like cliched, but it's actually true. Like if we reach one person and we're able to,
I can't wait to
get them to ask for help and get better, because the thing we tell in the movie, because 20 years has passed and I have, you know, a different perspective, I was able to raise my kids into very kind, good people. And, you know, Julie missed so much. She misses all of it. She misses every scraped knee. She misses, you know,
every good moment. The movie. We're gonna get back to this. I want to promote more.
Sorry.
We have to take our second break, and we'll be back, and we'll talk all about the movie when we get back on our final stretch here, because our hour's almost up. But please stay with us. And what an honor to know you, Amy. We'll be back with Moments of Clarity in just a moment.
Clarity with Tiffany Warner after these messages.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
If you are like most people, you worry with the financial challenges you face today. How do you protect your family from financial ruin? How will you reduce your liabilities and get out of debt sooner? And how can you deal effectively with the constant changes in your job, your career, and your business? Overcoming your financial challenges is like building a house. You must build from the ground up. You must learn how to make more money, save more money, grow your money, and protect your money. Forever Forward Financial specializes in teaching you these 4 basic money skills so you can achieve your dreams and end your worry. Call us today and schedule your complimentary, no-obligation meeting to discuss your needs and concerns. Call Scott Bigley at 727-422-7761.
Are you having trouble staying sober after you've completed rehab and need a positive environment to help you continue sobriety? At Real Recovery Sober Living, we strive in both community and environment for men in early sobriety to help support you while in early recovery. For only $750 a month, we cover everything you need when it comes to a safe, clean, and accountable environment necessary for success in sobriety. Check out our website at realrecoveryfl.com. That's realrecoveryfl.com. We have 6 locations in Tampa, St. Petersburg, Clearwater, Brandon, North Tampa, and Bradenton, because everyone deserves a quality, sober living.
Hi, this is Tiffany Warner, your host of Moments of Clarity. Living with a mental health disorder is not easy. If you or someone you know are struggling with this, please know it's so important to seek treatment, and I'm here to help. Please visit the website at momentsofclaritywithtiffany.com to view blog posts and resources on this site to help educate and inspire you to take action, because there's no shame in seeking help for mental health. While you're there, please take a few seconds to sign up for my email list. You'll get some extremely valuable educational and entertaining content that can be sent right to your inbox each week. Plus, you'll also get instant and free access to my guide on managing your anxiety. You can also follow me on Twitter at MOC with Tiffany and at Facebook at Tiffany Warner. And once again, the website is momentsofclaritywithtiffany.com. Thank you so much for your support and for listening to your show, because change can only come when we stand together as one. Hi, this is Tiffany Warner, your host of Moments of Clarity. I'd like to give a shout out to musician, songwriter Don Lawson, who wrote, produced, and performed all the vocals and instruments on my Moments of Clarity theme song. Don gained his inspiration as a mental health counselor himself. He's always looking for artists to record his songs, and you can hear more of Don's music at reverbnation.com/Don Lawson. You can also check him out on Twitter at Don Lawson Music. Thank you so much, Don, for your contribution to Moments of Clarity and ending the stigma on mental health. It's awesome.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Now back to Moments of Clarity with Tiffany Warner, licensed mental health counselor. To engage in the conversation, call 866-826-1340. Here's Tiffany.
All right, and we're back, and thanks for tuning in. And if you're just tuning in, this is Moments of Clarity with Tiffany. My name is Tiffany Warner. I'm a licensed mental health counselor, and I'm your host. And today we're talking about the novel called A Mouthful of Air, which is made by Sony into a movie. And amazing, the more we hear about it, the more I hear about it, that everyone's just working together to end the stigma on mental health. And actresses like Amanda Seyfried and Finn Whitrock, written by a novel 20 years ago by Amy Koppelman. And welcome back, Amy, very much.
Thank you. Yeah, before the break, what I forgot to say was that now when Sony bought it, and it's going to be in 800 theaters, and we would never have thought it would have been in 800 theaters.
Yay.
And that means we have 800, communities that we can get into, and, where people can, see the movie and start talking about their feelings, how they feel similarly, in what ways to Julie. And so that's making me very happy that people are saying, well, I said to my partner, you're watching the kids on Friday night or whatever, and I'm going to go see the movie. So, I know people are still scared to go back to the movies, but I'm hoping maybe they'll go see this movie.
Well, there's streaming options, and then afterwards you've got on demand that replays, and then Netflix that has replays, Hulu, all that stuff. You never know, where people rewatch films that they couldn't see in the theaters.
Yeah. It's not coming out on a streamer for a while. It's having the old-fashioned kind of release. So, but yes, eventually.
But after it's in the theaters, all the 800 theaters, and in there for a while, then that's when movies like that you weren't able to catch come out on. They used to come out on DVD or whatever, and we would rent them then.
Yeah.
And back when that existed more, but it'll make its way. It's got such a powerful message, and some amazing actors and actresses that can really portray that. So I'm not a psychic, but I have a strong feeling you're going to have a much success with this one.
Thank you.
There's so many people talking about mental health right now and wanting to talk more about it. And so
and
I think it's right on topic. I said I think it's right on topic. Go ahead.
If you're listening to this and you do feel that you're experiencing postpartum depression, or even have a tiny, inkling that you might be, you should go online to Postpartum Support International. They're in every state. They have somebody who will call you, they'll meet with you, and they'll help you get better. And they've been working on this for a really long time, and they're really the go-to place, to help with this.
That's Postpartum Support International?
Yes.
I'm trying to put this in a caption so we can add that across the screen really quick. So that's a great tool. And not only that, if you're listening to this and you're feeling like even symptoms, it doesn't mean that you want to harm your child or yourself or suicidal. It doesn't always have to get to that extreme, but it's okay to seek help. It's okay to not be okay. It's okay to handle depression or anxiety or intrusive thoughts. That's very common, more common than we think. And that that it's okay to speak out and talk to a professional and find out what's going on. As if we had something physical going on, we would figure it out. You know, if you had a cold, would you find an antibiotic? And that's what mental health is. Amy, we're wrapping up and we have like babies. And then I need the final minute to close up the show. So any takeaways, I'm going to let you know. Any takeaways that you would like to say where we can find you? I know your Instagram's A Mouthful of Air. Please follow Amy on there.
I just want to say what we just said, which is that my hope for this film and for women in general is that we just realize that it doesn't make us weak to say that we're scared. And you don't have to be mentally, you don't have to have depression to say you're scared. You should just be able to say that you're scared, because it is very scary being a mom. You know, if you're a sweet, good person and you love your child. I saw quickly these mothers in a coffee shop the other day, and they were talking, I mean, before COVID, they were talking about screen time and Oreo time and organic foods. And I wanted to say to them, don't worry, you know, an extra hour of screen time isn't going to do anything bad. And then I realized, no, they needed these rules. We make these rules of what it is to be a good mom because it's all so scary. So it kind of gives us like those guardrails when you're bowling. And yet, you know, maybe if we talked more about how we're feeling and less about, you know, organic Oreos versus non-organic Oreos, we could help each other. So I really hope that if you see someone who you think is having a hard time, even if they're smiling a lot, that you ask them how they are, if you know what this is, and nobody. The best way to be a good mom is to be there for your kids, and so that's our message. So thank you.
Well said, and apologize. I think we're getting kind of trolled on here, but anyway, well said, and shame on you, troll. Just seriously, you're trying to troll a mental health show. Jeez. Anyway,
what does that even look like? What is?
I'll tell you after the show. Anyway, thank you so much, Amy Koppelman, and author of A Mouthful of Air. And can we purchase your book as well on Amazon and things?
Yes.
Okay.
And thank you for giving me the confidence that I could find a room to do this in.
You got 4 minutes, run. No, you did great. Thanks for rushing and for being here today. Moments of Clarity is on every Thursday and Friday from 12 to 1 live on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn Live, Twitter, and also on the radio and every platform saved later. You can look more on the website at mocwithtiffany.com for more information. And thanks, everyone. Thanks for being here. And thanks to Ed and all the listeners, everyone. Be kind to yourself and a stranger. You never know what they're going through. And have a wonderful weekend.
Trust in you. Don't put yourself down. Time for a change. Believe in yourself, time to rearrange. Be your best friend, bring hope to your day. Lose your critic, get out of your way. Now it clicks, moments of clarity. Now I hear moments of clarity. Now I get it, moments of clarity. To yourself be kind, it will please your mind. Find your joy, trust in you. Put in the time, you'll see how you grow. Many kinds of love you get to define. Find self-love, your soul will align. Now it clicks, moments of clarity. Now I hear moments of clarity.